Hey, guys! Welcome back to one more episode of Mentor Talk with me. So, as usual, what we are doing through this series of episodes that we are doing every day is we are analyzing a lot of ads that we are coming across and uh, learning from that, because I think ads provide us that opportunity to learn about the society and how they are creating the impressions, right? So now so when we talk about ads, let's talk about products now. Through ages now, there was a time, let's say in 1980s, when certain products were expected to be used by men only, and certain products were expected to be used by women only. Okay, so in 1980s, the soap was we're talking about a product called a soap. Okay, so I'm reading from this brilliant book called 30-Second Thrillers by Pops. And today we have also a surprise for you guys. So I'm going to bring him up very soon, right here. Um, so let me read about what was happening in 1980s with regard to soaps. Okay, so back in 1980s, a soap was a soap. It foamed and cleansed. How much of moisturizer it had and which fruit it had was an irrelevant issue. Soaps then were about two things: hygiene for boys and beauty for girls. Boys went for the red ones, girls chose the vintage pink. But then Hindustan Unilever's Liril happened. It said, "Hey, I'm not just about hygiene or beauty, I am about freshness." Liril wanted to tell the world what freshness feels like, not just to the body, but also for the mind. So basically, now how now L- Hindustan Unilever, through their product called Liril, they changed they changed the concept about there was a huge demand in the huge difference between the choices of men versus women. So they changed that perception through their ad. So let me play the ad, and let's decode this after the ad. Okay, so let me bring this up here. So I'm talking about a product called Liril. Okay, so we're talking about an ad. This was released in 1985, as you can see. So let me make it a full screen. So the model's name is Karen Lurel. Let me play that for you.
Come alive with mineral freshness, tingling, tangier, with the exciting freshness of life. The freshly soap to make a fresh new woman of you.
Wow, that was a brilliant ad, isn't it? Okay, so to take this conversation forward, as I said, we have a special guest tonight with us. Uh, so let me bring him up here. Okay,
Hey. Thank you so much. Yeah.
so Sharath Nair, now there is a special connection between Sharath Nair, the book, and and the show, Okay, now because we both have books, can you show the book to the audience, Sharath?
Yay.
So if you can see, the books may look same, but we are reading from different page numbers. Okay, so in my book I'm reading from a page number 44. So what's your page number for the same?
Mine is 58, I guess. Yeah, 58.
So when we were preparing for this program, so we had a kind of a confusion, like why is this different? Okay, so uh, why this is different is because Sharath has met this guy, Pops. Okay, so
Ooh.
Sharath, so tell us about your experience with working with Pops. So before we move on, so let me introduce to audience about Sharath Nair. Sharath Nair is from Divine Iiril International Consultancies. They are India's foremost and only event consultants in India, and he's into branding products. So you're coming up with a program, isn't it? Like, what is it about?
Yes,
Brand,
yes.
global
It's all
brand
about
stories.
brands. Yeah, global brand
Right.
stories.
So tell us about your experience working with Pops.
Oh, awesome. So before we move ahead and miss that point, let me talk about the connections which we had. All right.
Hmm.
Okay. So this book, I got it signatured from Pops. Yes, I'm so excited. All right. Pop himself. He's a legendary ad maker and a revolutionary guy in the field of branding and advertising. So now let me tell you the story where how I came to know. So I need to thank this guy called Kanan Girish. So he
Hmm.
posted a photograph with him in one of our common WhatsApp groups, and I said, "Man, I need to meet this guy because we are writing a book on branding, and this would be
Hmm.
the right person to meet."
Hmm.
Then I tried connecting to him in LinkedIn. He's such a humble human being. He connected to me instantly. He said, "Yes, I'm available. You can talk to my secretary, fix up a meeting." And then we went to Mumbai. We met him. The day we were supposed to meet him at 11 in the morning, I guess, but the meeting got postponed to around 4:30. Fortunately for us, I'll tell you
Hmm.
why.
Hmm.
Because that day was a very busy day, and he was free at 4:30, very tired. But
Hmm.
you know what? He gave us around 3.5 hours of his time, telling his entire story, how he
Hmm.
became what he is today, and how the market is working.
Hmm.
That was a lot of insight for us with respect to branding and the beauty of collaboration and working.
Hmm.
Shall I talk about him a little bit? I'll
Yeah,
just
yeah,
give
go
him a
ahead,
brief.
go ahead. I mean, we want to learn about him because
Yeah,
it is book. His book is what we are reading because he's a legend,
yes.
guys. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a guy who is behind at like the Taj, famous Taj tea, Wah Wah Taj, and the
हमारा बजाज
Fevicol ads, and what else, Sharat?
हमारा बजाज
Hmm.
ठंडा मतलब कोका कोला. He made
Right.
Coca Cola famous.
So basically, he was the one who was behind all these amazing ads that we have lived with, isn't it? Like 90s to 2000s.
Absolutely, absolutely. He, and that era, the people who have worked, they have changed this industry, ad industry for India.
Hmm.
Now, okay, let me talk about him. His start was very humble. He's a very short guy, but he calls him very Pops. Basically, you call it your father, right? So
Hmm.
he's a
Hmm.
father figure for everyone. He treats everyone like a father. Sorry, he is a father to. A, uh, sorry, that intonation.
Right, right.
Okay,
Got it.
yes.
Yes.
So he,
Hmm.
he cares for his people like that. So that's the beauty of Pops.
Hmm.
And he started very small. If I remember the story, he started with painting the billboards of the movie posters,
Hmm.
and after that he went on into uh, something related to movie.
Hmm.
And by the time he was around 30 in the 80s, he had made a company worth around 2 crores turnover.
Hmm.
After that, he took a retirement. He was living in Goa for almost a year, doing nothing. He has hired a bungalow, doing nothing,
Hmm.
reading books. That's it. Then he said, "Okay, my life, I need to do something now." And that's when he started again with the advertisement. Then, what he is,
Right.
what.
I mean, yeah, I mean, because see, I've been reading this book, and it's so fascinating to read, Sharat. This because the way they came up. I mean, he gives. I mean, it's so valuable. This book he gives every detail about how they conceptualized. So, did he
Yes.
share about how he went through his routine of creativity? Anything in that way?
That way, I'm unable to remember. But thing is that the insight, see what he said is when he started reading all of things, he went to spirituality as well for a longer time, and then
Hmm.
he always had this creative thing inherent, and whatever he sees, he's trying to connect with something. That's
Hmm.
how he tried. So honestly, I'm unable to remember that clearly, but yes, for the audience, his podcast, whatever he said in his voice, is going to come to you soon.
Wow, brilliant. So let's get into the ad. Let me read
Yes.
about what he says about this little ad, and
Mhm.
I'd be happy to maybe frame by frame we can understand like how they constructed the ad. Okay, so let me read his version. So he
Mhm.
says, "My quest took me to the length and breadth of India in a bid to find the perfect waterfall. I remember taking flights to Ranchi, Kerala, Kodaikanal, and even driving to Khandala. Finally, I found my waterfall in Kodaikanal. It was right off the highway. It became so famous after the ad that it was fondly rechristened as Little Waterfall, and its tourism increased manifold. I remember carrying a small camera with me. When I reached the fall, I shot it from some unusual angles. I went behind the fall, over it, explored it from multiple angles. The footage of this shoot was my presentation to the Lintas team. Nina saw this and approved it. So, for those people who don't know what is Kodaikanal, I mean, it's super cold, isn't it, Sharad?
Yes, yes. Back then, definitely it would have been much, much colder.
Hmm.
So,
So imagine
if
this,
I,
yeah, this girl, this young girl, standing freezing water below that. It's like Himalayan water falling. Oh my God! Right. So let's,
so
yeah,
please. So, I mean, if you're reading that, then that's fine. So, I know a little bit background of that story as well, how they shot. You can continue, then I'll join.
sure, no problem. So now it was about finding the little girl. We as a team struggled hard and conducted numerous screen tests. Amidst all this, I happened to think of Karen Lunel. I had earlier done one ad with her and thus recommended her. The team auditioned and approved of her. Adding to the finding of little girl story, Aliq added, we auditioned over 100 girls. The test was done underwater, and we took them to swimming pools, created our own small artificial waterfalls, and asked the girls to stand under them. Most of the girls could not open their eyes under the falls, except for Karen Lunel. She was swimming champion and could swim underwater with eyes open for almost an hour. Although honestly, she wasn't the most beautiful girl of the lot, but she had a charming smile and loved frisking about. Also, she suited one specific requirement of mine. She had a relatively flat chest, and I no ways wanted a busty model, as that would have raised questions of vulgarity. Thus, Karen Lunel was who was just 17 then, was an innocent nature's child just enjoying the fall. Hindustan Unilever was apprehensive about the bikini, and we also feared about the censor board. But the charm played its role, and the essence of the ad was well communicated. Lucky that we had no issues with the approval. Wow. So I think we need to talk about the time as well, isn't it, Sharath? I mean, this was shot
Right,
in
very true.
1985.
Right, the first one,
Yes.
and I believe you would have read the story.
Hmm.
The concept came in thinking about uh, female work house housewives. That was a concept where it came in.
Hmm.
Now they were thinking about what a housewife would be thinking when she goes for her bath.
Hmm.
At that time, that was only 15 or 20 minutes which she used to get.
Hmm.
Some they did a survey. They said, okay, they imagine, they sing songs, all of
Hmm.
that. That's how this concept came in of freedom. Even when we see that this talks about freedom, it's all about freedom, freshness, and a newness, and
Right.
also a lot of conditioning myths at that point of time.
Right.
Someone coming with me, that was like,
Exactly. So
yeah,
yeah, exactly. So talking of which, because now this is a very important point, because now doing this ad itself is a huge courageous step, because at that
absolutely
point, I mean, we're talking about 1985 in India, which was purely extremely what is it? They say very conservative, isn't it? Like women, seen in a bikini on TV, national TV. That was, oh my God, right? So
right.
yeah, any insight on that, like conditioning you were talking about?
Right. Thing is that it was basically they had this doubt wherein whether that would be accepted or not, what
Hmm.
people will think, whether that's going to be, because that's kind of vulgar. But as you rightly said, people took that as freedom, freshness, something different. And fortunately, nothing much was talked about. It was taken the way it ideally should have been. And, and as you rightly said, the mindset. But now I'm just thinking aloud. Even in the movies before that, there are a lot of. Nowadays, I believe it's lesser, but in movies at that point of time, they had a lot of bikinis, exposure, all of that. But this coming to TV, I guess this was the first time, and that actually revolutionized the advertising industry.
Like, so if you can take a lesson out of this ad, so what could be a lesson? I mean, from that point of view, obviously, so that we're talking about a different time zone. So what is the lesson? I mean, what can we take away from this ad to create good ads today, for example?
Okay, so I'll just give a small background what is going on in my mind. See, even now that la 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 la, whenever I think about that, hear about that, it's all come to freshness, and only green and water is coming in my mind. So somehow subconsciously I feel refreshed.
Right.
Right. So nowadays, Kashyap, I don't think an ad, the recall value of an ad is very short. But they, see that ad, that has purity in that. The intention was very clear. That was a myth breaking. That was for the women. So that messaging, that was very clear. What that soap, that soap was freedom. So the message was very clear, which they wanted to convey. That's the reason it is still remembered, and people who have seen that ad has that connection built.
Yeah. So
nowadays,
so it was not vulgar, right? Like no. So I think the if we, for example, we watch a lot of movies repeatedly from the past, and same with the ads. They tend to have a lifetime beyond their age.
Right. True.
Right.
True.
So I think even if you watch the ad today, we experience the same emotions of freshness and greenery around it, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what.
Okay. So basically, now I think my lesson from that would be that I think the intent, the intent, if the intent is pure, that can be communicated clearly through the ad.
Absolutely. 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 Right? The intent was clear, and absolutely the courage which they had to have at that point of time to take that risk and coming out of this concept, that's really commendable. So risk taking is again a learning. If you believe it, go ahead, take that risk, make that impact, create history.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's all about doing the things which are not considered to be normal, isn't it?
True that.
Right. So let me continue. So a little bit more to read. But finding the little fallen girl was just the beginning. Then came the adventure of shooting the film. The shoot was scheduled somewhere in the month of December, January. Oh my God.
Coldest time.
People, I think only if you have to plan a vacation to Kodaikanal, nobody thinks about it going in December, January, right? Even today, but imagine that time. Yes.
Yeah, that time it would have been.
So what we didn't realize was that it was winters.
True.
He didn't realize it. It was winters. Okay. So we reached the location to discover that the weather and the water wall were freezing cold. But Karen Lunel was a sport, and we decided to shoot anyway. Before each shot, I would personally go under the waterfall to show her the position, and as soon as I was out, I used to take a shot of brandy to keep myself warm. Well, we did same for Karen.
Yes.
So basically, what happens is, we don't realize the kind of preparation that goes in. We see, oh, beautiful ad. We maybe want to pass some comments, but these guys actually go through maybe several retakes. Also for this show, we did a retake, isn't it, Sharad? We did a try to do it yesterday. Right. So, So that the lesson is,
preparation is the key.
Preparation is the key, and it's okay to fail. Right.
100%. 100%. And if you want, you can take brandy.
Right. So I continue. So We made Karen wear the bikini, and when, for the first time, she jumped into the waterfall, she screamed out loud, "Pull me out! Pull me out!" We pulled her out, and she was shivering, wrapping in a towel. Wrapping her in a towel, she was given some brandy. Her temperament being sporty, she agreed to continue shooting. So, so we followed a routine wherein we sent her in the water for a couple of minutes. Then thereafter, we quickly took a shot and pulled her out,
Mhm.
wrapping her in towels and blankets, giving her brandy, and waiting for her to be normal. That was on repeat mode, right? So this Sharath reminds me of the kind of hard work artists do. I think that is not much spoken about it, isn't it? Like we just see an actor doing, but I think artists have a lot of credit to be given, isn't it, Sharath?
Absolutely, absolutely. The artists take a lot of pain to get entertain us, rather, I would say entertain us.
Hmm.
They take a lot of time. Definitely, yes, they get paid for that, but they
Hmm.
also risk their health, everything.
Hmm. Wonderful. So I have a last part reading from the book. So apart from the waterfall, the girl and the freshness, uh, one more element brought the film alive and was the quintessential part of it. Its soundtrack. The La 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 La
Mm.
track is a tune that we still hum. Vanraj Bhatia had conceived the music track. He was one of the most popular music directors of the era in advertising. He was into classical music. Kailash shared an interesting story related to the track. The track was an Indianized version of the music track Fa. Fa as a brand had not entered India back then. We had heard its track and had drawn inspiration. Vanraj Bhatia built on it and used Indian musical instruments like the sitar, adapted the track to suit Liril and India as a country. Okay,
Perfect.
so now I have a comment on that. I know a book called "Steal Like an Artist."
Okay.
Now, in this paragraph, so what he's saying is, Liril was trying to be the Indian version of the famous soap brand called Fa. So
Mm-hmm.
what they did is they took they took inspiration from a similar, maybe the freshness idea from Fa, and they brought it to India, right?
Right.
So talking of it, I think what is your take on copying music, copying things, getting inspired? What is your take on that, Sharath?
Now, there are two versions of it. So when I was in school, copying was bad.
Hmm.
When I'm in business, copying is good. Because if something works, you need to just copy paste. A lot of
Right.
and everyone does that. So everyone who is
Hmm.
successful takes something from the successful people and do that. So
Hmm.
now, when it comes to music, yes, we need to take care of the copyright issues. But
Hmm.
yes,
Right.
copying, it's
Copying
not
is
bad.
good.
It's
And,
good.
and also, I know what I think. For example, right? So when we're playing some ads, these ads are actually trying to capture an emotion,
Right.
and what we're trying to also when you're trying to like recreate it, right? Let's say recreate it, and people call it researching in a different world. Uh,
Right.
so when we're trying to recreate, we're trying to bring that emotion back. So that's fair enough, isn't it, Sharath?
Absolutely fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. So we might have forgotten the original one. Still, we remember the
Right.
Indian version of it. Whatever.
So that was today's ad, guys. So Sharath, any comments about Liril? Any what soap do you use?
So I just want to read one more para. Maybe this is the extra one which I have. I'm not sure.
Right.
The concept of freshness was so strong that even after 4 decades of wandering around to find a
Hmm.
new concept and undergoing many disasters to retrieve the band, it has come back to its roots. Recently, in August 2015, Riddle's new ad spotted Old Spirit, a girl in green bikini in a waterfall with signature tune communicating the freshness feel and the sign of statement announced, freshness is back. Such is the power of a legendary idea. They never die.
Wow. So basically, that thing kept kept the inspiration up. Is it right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Even I was during the preparation, I was reading about this ad. There were a lot of different versions of this. Okay,
Okay.
they wanted. There were a lot of people trying to do different versions. If you see the series of advertisement made for Little, In between, there was a time it miserably failed. Then they
Hmm.
had to come back with the same. There was Deepika Padukone in this.
Little
Pretty
Zinta.
Zinta, Pretty Zinta one was really famous, but I could not even recollect the Deepika Padukone version. That was Little Orange. That's the
I did
version.
not know this. Yes. Huh. So
Yeah.
why did so what did not work that way from your point of view?
See, some sometimes people try to reinvent because of boredom what is working.
Hmm.
Don't do that. If it's working, continue doing that. That's it.
Hmm. Hmm.
When it's not working, then try to do something different. If it's working, continue doing that. That's it. And
Hmm.
that's why an ad which was shot in eight with the music and an ad, the concept which was done in 85 is still alive today.
Wow.
How many years have passed? 30 years.
Right. It's very interesting because now two ways to look at it, because
Mhm.
in 1985s the kind of see I was just born around that time, and now I have definitely listened to this ad, right? So when I
Mhm.
listen to that ad today, I mean, with little bit of tweaks, I definitely reconnect back to that brand, number one. And
Mhm.
number two, like you said, playing the same old tune, bring out the same emotion, it still works with the current human civilization, right now, right? So the lesson is
Absolutely.
simple now. It doesn't matter which timeline we are in, it the emotions still stay the same.
Emotions. Now it's the time of emotions, because right now, if you see the okay, if you see the advertisement right now, most of them don't connect to the emotions, but though the ads which connect to the emotions are the ones nowadays are the most which is shared in all the social media and gets the
Right.
maximum likes. That's it.
Right.
Like
Right.
I just want to talk about the Samsung. Do
Hmm.
you remember that advertisement? I definitely know that you will, wherein they carrying a TV to a place, remote place where there was I guess that's an orphanage wherein they wanted one of the person in their orphanage participating in some singing show. That was
Hmm.
and they were talking about. They didn't talk about the product. They only
Hmm.
talk about the emotions, and
Hmm.
that was a hit.
Wow. So this was, you're talking about a Samsung ad, is it?
Samsung ad, yes,
So I think we can do a discussion on that. So so
yes.
saying that, so anything else you want to add about this ad, Sharath?
This ad definitely was a revolution in the ad industry, which changed the advertising industry.
Hmm.
And very few ads wherein even the lady is in bikini, it is not vulgar, and people take in the right way because the intention
Hmm.
was right. And a very bold step in terms of advertising. So anyone who wants to build a brand, definitely the intention has to be right, and they need to take the bolder steps to make that happen. And emotion,
Right.
as you rightly said, perfect.
Right. So, so people who want to connect with Sharath Nair, how can they get in touch with Sharath Nair? And by the way, Sharath Nair is one of our mentors on our platform called
Find
findmymentors.com.
my mentors. Yes, definitely. That's a great platform to be in. And we are doing some programs in colleges, so we are definitely promoting Find My Mentors there, because we know the value which Kashyap is bringing on table, the intention, as we are talking about the intention which he has. He has an intention to upbuild the brands in India. That's the only reason I believe you're doing this brand show.
Right. Right. So, how can they get in touch with you for any brand related advice?
All right. So you can connect to me. I'll just post my email address of my company, that is consultant-e.com.
Mhm.
Definitely get in touch with me. So I'll also comment. So you can connect me over the Facebook. Send me a message. I'll get in
Hmm.
touch with you. I'm always available.
Hmm.
Yes. Thank
Right.
you
So,
so much.
so yeah, basically now I'm going to do this like because I want to share my learnings every day, and it'll be like an honor to have you to contribute as much as time you can provide to us, Sharath.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
a value addition to the society, right? So I hope, I think we'll find a way. I mean, even, it doesn't matter whenever you find time, even if it is 11:30 p.m. So guys who are listening to this, right? So we don't know when we are going to go live because we find time and we go live. Unlike our regular program, which is Mentor Mondays, we go live at on time 8 p.m. but given our schedules, we don't know when we are going to go live. So Sharath, when you're available, I'll be happy to join. And it's because now you're the brand guy. I want to learn about brands, going through the ads, because you have met this guy, and I'll be happy to learn about ads from your side as
Yes,
well.
yes, yes. 100%, 100%.
Okay,
Yes.
guys.
Let's rock. Pops, thank you so much.
Yes. Awesome. So until next time, guys, have fun, take care, and please like, share, comment on this video. This will help us, this will encourage us. I hope you got value from this discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Good night, guys. Bye
Good
bye.
night. Hey, if you're still watching, go to findmymentors.com and go talk to a chatbot. She'll ask you very, very curious questions, answer some simple questions, and I would like to meet you. Okay? Bye.